Here we are with Things We Love. We have been doing this for many years. The Valentine's Day episode, Things We Love from the last year. And we always remind ourselves and our listeners, these are not the most important things in our life. These are silly things often, but things that make our life easier, more fun, more manageable, more helpful. So we are here with the practical. This is going to be an episode of practical tips from Krista and Alex on Things We Love, 2025 version.
Happy Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my red today, just getting in the spirit.
Just jump in to the kitchen. The things we love that we eat and we use to prepare food. I'm going to start with something that I drink a lot of these days.
Okay.
It is Athletic Brewing Company non-alcoholic beer. I think I may have mentioned this last year. I can't remember, but I've had a lot more of it in the last year. So I really am a fan. I'm a fan of
So tell me why you're a fan. Like, I would just love to hear. I mean, I don't even like beer, so
Right.
It's hard for me to relate, but tell me why you're a fan.
Well, I do like beer. So that is part of it. And so I have been looking for the last few years non-alcoholic options that I like. And I don't like sweet. And that seems to be the fallback for a lot of non-alcoholic drinks. And so I like non-alcoholic beer, not as much as I like real beer, but Athletic Brewing Company's NA beer is my fave. Now, I have some friends who would argue that it's not the best on the market, but what they like is really fancy and you have to go to special stores to find. And I can get this at the grocery store. So it's become really popular, and even Costco carries it now.
I think it's just a great trend. There's a mocktail trend. There's a non-alcoholic beer trend. I just feel like there's so many more options for people who don't want the alcohol. And so I'm all about it. And just props to the restaurants that are coming up with really fun mocktail options. I love that.
Here is the rest of my things are also found at Costco that I love to eat right now. New Trail nut granola.
Mm-hmm.
At our house, we have the honey nut flavor. There is also a blueberry flavor at Costco.
What do you like about that one?
It has coconut in it. It's super crunchy. I love the texture. It's a varied texture and it's very sweet. I know I said I didn't like sweet in my drinks, but I do like sweet in my food. And so I put it on top of yogurt. So good. Love it.
And is it, it's not keto. Okay.
Truffle oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's just yummy. I just like it on whatever you put it on.
And what do you put it on?
Bread.
Mm-hmm.
So again, high gluten, high carb. And I just like how it tastes. It just tastes yummy. My favorite, one of my favorite restaurants here in Colorado is in Crested Butte. If anyone ever goes to Crested Butte, go to the Secret Stash restaurant and get their truffle fries. I dream about them. I dream about them. They're so good. Okay, so my own attempt at truffle fries doesn't quite turn out exactly the same, but it's better than nothing. So, yum. And they have a little 2-pack at Costco you can get. Okay, my last thing that I really like is the Chobani low-fat Greek yogurt drink. It does have sugar in it. It has about 9 grams of protein. But here is my challenge with drinking protein drinks in general, is that I feel like they're really thick. And I feel like there's so much that I have to drink. I start force feeding myself. And it feels like when I was pregnant and had to take those tests, for gestational diabetes, you had to drink that stuff. That some of those taste like that to me. This, it's not very much. And so I feel like I can drink it and I don't get overwhelmed. And it has 2 flavors. They carry them at Costco. They're kind of my go-to right now.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the food trend, I will say the quinoa crisps, dark chocolate and cherry. These are so yummy and they are a treat. They're a dessert for me. Have you tried them?
Not the dark chocolate and cherry. I had a quinoa crisp on the plane this
Okay.
weekend.
Did they give
Mhm,
it to you? Like the
mhm.
airline give it to you?
Yeah, passed it out on United.
Okay,
It's
United.
chocolate. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I can barely find them in our grocery stores, but I know Whole Foods has them, but we don't have Whole Foods. So, but they are so good. They are so good. So if you can get one somewhere, get them. I also love the Built Puff protein bars. Have you tried those? They almost taste marshmallowy inside.
Okay.
But I, in general, do not like protein bars. I try to get my protein from real protein,
Mhm.
not from protein bars or protein drinks. However, sometimes you just have to, and I'm traveling a lot right now. So those are really good, and they almost taste marshmallowy inside. I don't know how they do.
Yeah.
Costco's carrying those. And then the other thing so I went to Nashville because my youngest is going to school there.
Mhm,
And I went to a restaurant in Nashville where they had grits. And
mhm.
I was like, oh, I'm in the South. I need to have grits. So I tried them and I'm like, wait a minute. These are not the same grits that we have. Like, these are so much better. I can't even handle it. So that's part of what I do when I go to restaurants is I try and figure out what they're doing. Like, what flavors are they putting in here? What ingredients? What is this? And I was like, these are not our grits. And so then I did a deep dive into grits. Turns out there's a lot of different kinds, and the stone ground, where they stone ground blue and then yellow, those are the best, and they're coarsely ground, and it's like a whole new world for me. So I did find some stone ground grits that are from this family's farm. They've had this company forever. Anyway, they taste like the ones that I had in Nashville. So I love that. Do you ever have grits? Do you ever cook grits?
I don't cook them. I mean, I've had them before, but no.
Mhm. They're so easy. I mean, we don't have them all the time at all.
Mhm.
But they're so easy to make. Like, and everybody seems to love them when I make them. So I'll do it when companies coming over. Okay. I'm going to talk about a couple of kitchen gadgets or dishes that I like. So one is the all-clad instant read digital thermometer.
Okay.
This is for meat or for whatever you're cooking. It just is so helpful to see what the temperature is so that you can get your meat perfect. So, love that one. It's a really good one because I've had all kinds and they're not all created equal. I will say that.
Mhm.
Okay, the other workhorse in my kitchen right now is the 6 3/4 quart cast iron round wide Dutch oven. And I have
Okay.
it in white. It comes in all sorts of colors, but it is the workhorse in my kitchen. I use it
Mhm,
for everything. I just keep it on the stove because I'm pretty
mhm,
much using it almost every day. I mean, I can saute in it, I can make
mhm.
soups in it, and I do everything in there. So I love it. For those of you into sourdough, you can use it for your sourdough. It is just my workhorse at the moment. So I love that. And it's wide. I think that's the key. Like, you can get a lot of Dutch ovens that are just the round. And, they have actually some nice ones at Costco right now, but they're just round. This one
Mhm.
is wide too. And so that's what I like the most about it. The other thing that I'm doing that I really am loving is I'm using my silver for everyday flatware. So my flatware was tarnishing just over and over and over. And, I've tried black flatware, I've tried gold flatware, and they just tarnish. So finally, I was I was talking to Wendy from the Peaceful Homestead, and we were chatting about people using their silver as everyday wear. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is it. So the only trick, because I got it for our wedding and I just wasn't using it all that much, and I'm really into use what you have. So you have to keep the silver separate from the stainless steel in your dishwasher. And as long as you do that, you can dishwash it and it's fine. The problem, and it turns black, is when you cross with like a chemical reaction in your dishwasher. So you just have to make sure, and I'm training my family that only the silver can go in this one certain section. Nothing else can go in there. And sometimes I have to make sure before we run the dishwasher that they did it right, my kids. But it's working.
Okay. And it's
And
science.
you can, and it's science. And it makes me happy when every day I open my drawer and there's this beautiful flatware in there that I get to see every day. And it reminds me of my parents because they gave it to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Use the stuff you have. Don't let it just sit in a box in the back of the closet.
Right. And Wendy, she's doing that, but she got hers at an estate sale for like, she got a whole set for like, I don't know, between $50 and $70, somewhere in there. And she's using that as her everyday wear.
Yeah. China, and I'm guessing silver, is not that hard to find because people are getting rid of it right now and other people don't want it. I don't know why people don't want it because I love China and I love silver. Love it. I love it. Okay, fun.
Yeah. So there you go. Go hit the estate sales because, that is a trend right now, is to be using it. Okay. What about podcasts? What are you listening to?
Well, there are a couple of podcasts I've been listening to lately that are friends of ours. The Warrior Mama with Bethany Kimsey, and Up Until Now with Kristen Hallinan. So Warrior Mama is really for praying moms and moms who really want to have the heart of the gospel in their parenting. And she has a lot of kids. Bethany, I think, has 8 kids.
8?
And
yeah.
And she has a wide range of ages. So I feel like even though my kids are older and sometimes she's speaking to moms of younger kids, that the principles still apply to me and to my kids. So she's wise, she's gentle, she's not shaming in any way. And she always seems to come back to my heart as the mom and where I am. So it really feels like I'm getting something out of it, not just for the parenting, but just for me, for my own spiritual growth. And she feels like a friend because she is my friend. So I love listening to it. And I really want other people to find it that are looking for something like that. And Kristen really kind of focuses in on life. So her podcast is Up Until Now, but about making changes in patterns in your life, I would say, is probably my best description of how she covers it. But she has interesting guests, really interesting people, often who have experienced hard things and how that has shaped who they are today, but also the agency that they've used to make changes. So it feels relatable in that people talk about the hard stuff of life, but it also feels like, okay, but here are some practical things that they have done to not let their circumstances define who they are. So I just find it to be deep in a really good way. And yes, then at our house, we refer to Jenna, our friend, who we don't actually know in real life, but she is on Smart Her News. So she has a podcast. I follow her on Instagram, and she is a former mainstream media reporter that went out on her own. And she covers things. She says she's quick, concise, nonpartisan news. So she really focuses on the facts, but she also gives a lot of historical context, which I appreciate because I don't always know, like, well, why should I care about that? Or why is this important? And she highlights things from history that give the news of the day additional meaning that I wouldn't know just listening to the headlines. Like, this is why this is important, or this has never been done before, or this is, so it's really interesting. And she does pepper it with some human interest stories too, but she just has this new feature I think she's trying out in 2025 called Quick Hits, because she used to just do 2 episodes a week, and now she's doing daily, like 8-minute. Here's something that happened yesterday that you might want to take note of. So that feels very digestible.
Do you feel like that's your main news source right now?
Yeah. I mean, other than gleaning from just conversations, and you can't help but listen to things. I mean, I do listen to NPR in the car sometimes, but it's about 50%. I turn it off because I'm like, I'm not interested in this. Whatever they're talking about, sea creatures and whatever. When I do want someone's take on something, even though she's really trying not to be political, she will say why something is important or what to be watching for. She's very big on these are the questions we should be asking as citizens and as consumers of news. Mm-hmm. So she just tells me what to be thinking about, not necessarily what conclusions to draw.
Yeah, I like her a lot. She's amazing and was very helpful for me during the election. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what I'm listening to, I absolutely love the Andy Stanley Leadership Podcast. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's just really interesting topics. He has interesting guests sometimes, but I also just love Andy Stanley. I love his perspective on everything. Mm-hmm. And for example, one of the podcasts he had recently with John Maxwell was how to get a return on failure. It's just very practical. It doesn't matter what arena you're in. Mm-hmm. Anyone can benefit from that episode. So I love that one. I find the 10% Happier with Dan Harris podcast to be interesting because he just has very interesting people that have very interesting conversations about how you move yourself toward happierness, which is a concept that I've been learning about from Arthur Brooks, which we'll get to under the books. And then I always find Rethinking with Adam Grant very compelling. And Adam Grant is just, I mean, a lot of people follow him on Instagram because he has very insightful posts. And he is at the Wharton School and he is a researcher, but also he's in the psychology space and he just has a lot of deep insights about people and life and living. One of my favorite podcasts on his podcast was How to Build Great Culture with Danny Meyer. Danny Meyer is the founder of Shake Shack, Gramercy Tavern in New York, which is always voted every year people's favorite, which is really hard to do in New York City. So just how people build great culture. I loved that episode. So we'll link to that. What about books? Any books you're reading that you like?
Well, I am going through for the second time the book Lead with Prayer. I'm going through it again with another group at work, and it is so practical. So if you're a praying person and you're in a position to make decisions, which every person is in a position to make decisions, I recommend this book, Lead with Prayer. And then I would say the most influential book that I read in 2024 for me was the Walter Brueggemann Advent and Christmas Devotion. So that may not feel like it's relevant to you in February, but just go buy it on Amazon now and you'll have it for next Advent. I think it's titled Celebrating Abundance. It was, I mean, I've read it before, but this time in this year, I think it's a great example of when a book hits you in the right way. It spoke to me right where I was this year in such a beautiful, meaningful, powerful way about seeing the Christmas story played out in today's world and the direct correlation between what's happening in my life and the good news that God came. It just was so wonderful and powerful to me, really spoke to me.
Okay. Love that. I have lots of books because I'm always reading a lot of books. So everyone's talking about the Let Them theory from Mel Robbins, and it is good. It is good. It's hitting people for a reason. It's all about, well, it's two-pronged. Let them, let me. So let them do what they're going to do, kind of let go of control and release people to be the experts in their own life, to behave the way they're going to behave, whatever it is. But then she follows it up with the let me, which is let me decide how I'm going to respond to that, have my own boundaries, what I'm going to do to move forward, all of those things. So that, and it's excellent. And I love Mel. She's great. And her podcast is #1 in the world right now. So she's definitely hitting a chord with people. Eat Like a Girl, Mindy Pelz. So I have mentioned before Fast Like a Girl, which is a great book, a great resource for people who are just frustrated with weight loss, which, has been me my whole life. So I feel like Mindy, what I like so much about her is she approaches women and their bodies specifically. Most people that are talking about fasting cycles, ketogenic diets, or all the things that are hot, they talk about it in terms of men and women. And what I like about Mindy and what has rung so true for me is women are not the same as men. You cannot treat women the same. Their bodies are so hormonal. She has you fast according to your cycle. Even if you're in menopause, you fast according to the cycle you would have been in. And so now she's come out with Eat Like a Girl, and it really is eating for a woman's hormones. And it's just so good. So I love her. She is one of my main go-tos for health insight advice. And let me tell you, I've read them all. The anxious generation, it's a must mention. I mean, I really think every modern person needs to read The Anxious Generation. It is a tough read. It was very hard for me to get through the whole thing because it's gut wrenching. However, it's also empowering, and I think it's important. That's the word I want to say with this book. This is an important book. And this book is a catalyst for even school districts making changes. And so in cell phone use for kids and all of that. So whether you have children or not, which a lot of us do, and so for that reason, we need to be reading this book, but also for yourself and for just for the world we're living in. The other one is Build the Life You Want. And that is a book I mentioned just a minute ago by Arthur Brooks and Oprah. So the reason Oprah jumped on the author train with Arthur Brooks is simply because she likes him. And she's like, I want your message to get out to the whole world. And I know my name can help with that. And so she put her name and her insights here and there from Oprah in the book. But she said, if I still had a show, Arthur Brooks, you would be a regular guest. And I love him that much too. He is a Catholic intellectual who is a happiness researcher, and his whole thrust of this book, and also I read on a regular basis his column in The Atlantic, which I would also really recommend, called How to Build a Life. And it's a great column. He has all sorts of fascinating topics that he comes out with every week. But his whole thing is, how do you get to happierness? Not happiness, but happierness. And it's kind of that 10% happier concept. So though it's different, and he is one of the smartest people in modern culture. He is he's fun to listen to because he's smart, but he's also practical and he's also faith-based. And the combination, I just eat him up. I love everything he puts out.
He does quote from multiple faith perspectives in some of his writing, just to let people know that. And he is coming personally from a Catholic perspective.
Yeah, so in fact, he's friends with the Dalai Lama. So he talks about, when I was talking to the Dalai Lama, and I'm like, go Arthur Brooks. But see, that's my bent, though. I love that about him. I love that he brings in other perspectives and, is friends with lots of different kinds of people.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Arthur Brooks. Okay, music. I'm just going to throw out something that I was introduced to yesterday. So this is not exactly like from 2024. I've been listening to it for months. But my friend Nathan, who lives in Spokane, we were on a call talking about Lead with Prayer. We were talking about praying through scripture. And he said that he listens to this group musician called their band name is called The Corner Room. And they sing straight scripture, but it's with this Americana feel to it. So I was listening to it this morning and Derek said, did you just search banjo? What did you search on Spotify right now? And I said, no, I looked for The Corner Room. But I really I like that it's
banjo.
well, that it's straight scripture.
Yes.
Because to Nathan's point, he said, I'll listen to a song a few times and I'm singing it. And then I realized I've memorized scripture. And so it's like seed family worship, but for grownups is what we decided. And many of their songs are psalms, and it's the whole psalm. So it's really beautiful. But like I said, I haven't listened to it all. I just started as of 24 hours ago listening to it. But I thought maybe our listeners would like it.
Absolutely.
So I'm putting it out there.
I love that. And that's how I actually learned scripture best, is through music. So the Porter's Gate, their album Sanctuary Songs is beautiful. It's just beautiful. And they are, I don't know how to describe them. They're kind of a mellow sound. They have deep lyrics. And it also sounds like you could be listening to it in a coffee house. They have a unique sound, and I really, really like them. And then just for fun, upbeat pop, I'm really into the Nico and Vinz, which this is just fun. And their song, When the Day Comes, I just love it. And when I need a little like pump me up, I just put that song on and start dancing around the kitchen.
Yeah, we should all have a pump me up song.
Yeah, I just like, it's just fun. Like you just can't help but be in a good mood when you're listening to that song.
Yeah. And who doesn't need that these days? Okay.
Yeah.
Who are you following on Instagram?
Well, I actually been on Instagram a lot less. So I'm maybe less in this category than in the past. I'm actually posting more because I have a system for posting now. However, I'm on Instagram less. Simon Sinek is a great follow. Arthur Brooks, Simon Sinek, Adam Grant. Those are the three I'm going to say. Who would you say?
Dr. Mary Claire Haver. Are you familiar with her? She's an OBGYN, and she talks about all things menopause. She was on Mel's podcast. So she is kind of flooding my feed right now because, you like click on two things and then all of a sudden she's there everywhere. But she has a podcast and she talks about nutrition in menopause and exercise and all of those things. And I like her. Josh Weathers, he is a singer and he does country covers. He does some of his own original music too, but his voice is amazing. And when he does a cover, I feel like he pulls out the spirit of the classic singer that he's doing. And he does a lot of 90s country covers. So of course I love that.
Yes.
And then The Leighton Show, which he is the guy, you have probably seen him, who has texts from teens and young adults to their parents. Have you ever? I mean, I think the hardest I laughed in the last year was reading some of his posts. And they are silly things that teenagers text their parents that are earnest questions on behalf of the teenager that the parent is like, I can't believe maybe we didn't cover that in your whole growing up. A lot of them had to do with going away to college and like, yeah. So it's super funny. And the way that they're presented, kind of deadpan, is what makes them even funnier. So I'm not going to try to say what they are because it will not be funny if I say it. Anyway, he's just my go-to for laughing.
I love it. Again, we need that. We need the lighthearted. Okay, what about fashion beauty? What are you loving lately in the fashion beauty department?
Okay, I got my first pair of Spanx pants, and this was really depressing. They're really tight on me. They're really small. So I went back and I saw the comments said that they run small, but I got the wide leg twill, which we will link to in the show notes. But they do work. I mean, they do kind of hold everything in. And I am trying to figure out my waistline these days. So that's why Dr. Mary Claire, and that's why the Spanx pants. So they're great. I got them on major sale too. So
Spanx makes great clothes. So we've had on their other stuff in the past, some of their Air Essentials sets. I mean, they're just like clothes you want to wear all the time.
Mm-hmm. So the ones I've linked to are on sale right now. The Steve Madden Haley ankle boot. Now, I will say I did not go out looking for these. I got them at the Goodwill and they were brand new. So I wouldn't have probably bought them on my own, but they're still selling them at DSW, Nordstrom, whatever. But I love them. I love them. They go up above the ankle, the shaft, so that if you are wearing a wide leg pant, crop pant, looks really cute. They are not as comfortable as sneakers, but they're comfortable. And they also give me some height because they've got these huge soles. But anyway, that was a fun find. And finally, the L'Oreal Glotion is a little highlighter lotion. And my girls actually got it for me because they're like, Mom, you need the Glotion. And you can get that at the grocery store, Target. It's nothing fancy, but it just adds a little shimmer to your cheeks.
A little shine. Well, I am on the Mother Jeans train. I mean, they are an investment, but you will wear them every day. I like the Spanx clothes. You know, there's just something to be said for people that make clothes for women and women who are in midlife. So there you go. I love Mother Jeans and I wear them all the time. And the two that I have are Riding the Cliffside, which I actually tried to find a link and I don't know, I couldn't find it where I got them. So we'll have to figure out where those are. And then the Fairest of Them All, which is a great pair going into spring, summer because they're white and they have a fringe bottom and they are literally the pants you'll want to pull on every day. Okay. Mother Jeans. It's like buying sheets. Like you don't really want to spend the money, but then once you do, you're like, oh my gosh, I use these every day.
Cost per wear ends up being actually really good because you wear them.
Right. Yeah. So that's Mother Jeans. Blowout curlers. Okay. This is new to my beauty routine.
Okay.
So literally where you just buy the $10 curlers on Amazon and you roll them in your hair and then you blow dry and it's like you've had a blowout. I mean, not quite, but supposedly it's like you've had a blowout. So my daughter was helping me with that. And so I got some of those.
Okay. Are they special blowout curlers or it's the technique of blowing out when you're using the curler?
Yeah. They like stick in your hair. It's the technique, but also like these particular curlers, they stay in while you're blowing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, you know, what they use at the salon. The Color Wow Root Cover Up. And they have an award-winning formula. I actually found this from my hairstylist. So you paint it on like with a brush. So I unfortunately am needing that more these days than I have in the past. And so I'm looking for good root cover-up products that will get you through till the next appointment. And this is one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I always want a good root cover-up. I still use the stuff that you gave me like 2 years ago. It still lasted.
It's still?
That little powder thing. I forget what it's called.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is another one you can try. It's a good one.
Okay. Color Wow.
Color Wow. The women's cozy slippers, they're an UGG dupe on Amazon. They're under $25. Everybody is going crazy over these slippers because and I got them. They're really comfortable. They've got some memory foam in them. So this makes a great gift for birthdays. It makes a great favorite things party gift. It makes fun little treat for yourself that's under $25. They have them in all different colors because that's one of the other things I'm into right now is my color palette. I got my colors done this year. I'm very into my color palette. So you can get it in your color palette.
Okay.
Other thing is the Essence Volume Lash Booster.
Okay.
It's, I think, under $5. And it is, you know, what you put on before you put on your mascara. And it's fabulous because you can buy really expensive lash boosters, but it really does make your mascara so much better when you put it on. And this one is not expensive and it works great. So I was happy to find that. And then I found a really good red lipstick this year, which again, in my color palette.
Okay.
One thing they told me in the color analysis, which shout out to Sarah Kramer, who could do your color analysis too. She said I should not be wearing nude lipstick or lipstick that's not more bright.
Mm-hmm.
So I found the Charlotte Tilbury Red Holiday Vixen lipstick. It's a good one.
Okay.
The other thing I'm going to mention in the beauty section is my supplements, because this is a part of what I am doing to take care of my body. Maybe it's having impact on my skin and nails. I mean, I hope so, but it's supplements. So I've done a lot of research and I have come to the conclusion that you get what you pay for. Not all supplements are created equal. Costco carries some that are good. So for example, you can get a probiotic that's really good at Costco. So they're on sale even right now at Costco. But a lot of the ones that they have are actually not the best quality. So you do have to really look into like what is good, what is not. But I just find Thorne to be the trusted brand. So on Black Friday, I actually bought a whole bunch of supplements from Thorne. So the ones that I take vitamin D, which is critical. I literally can't go without magnesium for one day in my life for both my restless leg syndrome and my sleep. So magnesium is critical. Also, just so people know, sometimes magnesium can upset your stomach. So you have to pick the right one. And then I take vitamin B12, berberine. Did I say fish oil?
No.
Okay.
And fish oil.
Yeah. So those are the ones I take. And then I'm going to give just a bonus item. This is not in beauty. This is just a bonus item today.
Okay, let's do it.
That my kids love. And that is the waterproof black fancy playing cards. So they all play cards at school, which I love. Big game players. We're all big game players. But these cards are the fan favorite of their friends. Their friends even try and take them. Everyone loves these playing cards. They're black and gold. They look like they're straight out of Las Vegas. So there you go. Just get a deck.
So, but the waterproof part, that's so if you spill your drink on it, they're fine.
Yeah. Or if you're taking them camping or whatever, they're waterproof.
Okay. Great.
There you go.
And you have a link to them right in our show notes. So that is a wrap for the things we love 2025. We would love to know the things that you love, because this is what we do here at the Our Time to Rise podcast. We share great ideas. And I want to know, especially if you can get it at Costco, because as you can tell, I spend a lot of time at Costco or Amazon. What do you love? What are you loving in any of these categories, or something else where you think, you know what? And this would be something that all of the listeners would love to know about. And then we can share some of them. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. And we love you. We love you.
Yes, we do. Okay. Bye.